Hello, welcome back. We're going to look at our lives today in a different way. This whole course is an invitation to re-examine everything, literally, everything that you've ever been taught, everything that your school teachers taught you when you were younger, or if you went on to schooling as an adult, university, postgraduate work, whatever it is, everything that you've been taught, everything your parents taught you, and everything that society has taught you, no matter where you live in the world. We're invited in studying A Course in Miracles to examine and to question the very foundations of everything we now believe. Oh, yeah, nothing more than that, and nothing less. Now, you may or may not find that exciting. I do. I do. You may find that exciting. You may find that exhilarating and energizing and illuminating, or you also may find that to be a deep existential threat. So, wherever you land there, consider that you're meant to be, clearly meant to be, having the experience you're having with this material right now. So this is a video series that presents A Course in Miracles. Along the way, I pepper that with some of my own experience with this material and my own spiritual walk, because it's something that I think some of you may relate to. So to the extent that you do, fantastic. And this is part of why I do it. So why would we ever consider any of our journeys useless? Well, because they are. Think of how many things that you've obsessed over in your life. You may or may not consider yourself OCD. Yeah, if you are, great. If you're not, great. No problem. Think of how many times we've worried about something, really, and stressed over it and made all kinds of alternative plans against a future event, only to have that future event never happen. And did you ever feel like that was useless? Like all of that stress and worrying and preparation for an attack that never happened was a waste of time. Maybe you did. Right? I think almost all of us can relate to this. There's got to be at least one incidence in all of our lives where that was the case, clearly, where we were much ado about nothing, something that never took place. Or, by contrast, we obsess over something that took place in the past, right? We go over a scenario, a past gone scenario, again and again in our minds, often condemning ourselves for not having said a certain thing, for not having done a certain thing. And we dwell everywhere but the present moment. We do this all the time. This is part of the reason why meditation and mindfulness practices are a thing in world spirituality. It's part of the reason why. We have only right now. And in truth, time and space are illusions, they're artificial constructs. Anyway, here in the dream, we have only right now. So it's worth considering again and again the idea that all of this that you see, not just the images on your screen right now, but everything that you see in the room where you find yourself, or on the street where you find yourself, wherever you are, everything that the body's senses show you is a dream. It's a dream, including our physical bodies. They're dreams as well. So it's worth, on the path, reminding ourselves again and again that this is a dream. Nothing more than that would ever really be required, right? Just that this is a dream. A Course in Miracles is not, by the way, the only spiritual tradition in the world to teach this very thing. There are others that say the same thing, that the phenomenal world, I don't mean phenomenal in the sense of great, I mean the world of compound phenomena, stuff that appears like a body, for example, like the pictures in the rug on the wall behind me, like the wall itself, like the camera that I'm looking at, the microphone that's right off camera right here, all of that. The world of phenomena is illusion. It's constantly changing, it's illusion. Anything that shifts and transforms and changes is illusion. This is a dream. So let's remind ourselves of that. As often as we think of it, it's really important. And here in the dream, we've given everything that we see all of the meaning that it has for us. Think back to the first few lessons of the workbook for students, if you've been through the workbook for students. We look at the past, and that's why nothing that we see means anything. I see only the past, by the way, is lesson 7 in the workbook. So very early on, and that encapsulates actually the first 6 lessons. That's why when we look at the pictures on the wall, they mean nothing. They don't mean anything. This body does not mean anything. This rug behind this body does not mean anything. This eyebrow does not mean anything, right? All of those exercises from the workbook, we're looking at the past. It's a dream. It's gone. And in fact, the essence of accepting atonement for ourselves is acknowledging that the separation never happened. Ideas leave not their source. What we see here is a dream. And in this dream, which feels solid, granted, of course it does, it feels solid and concrete and real, very real. So what do we do in the dream to wake up? Well, enter spiritual practice, enter A Course in Miracles, or whatever spiritual tradition you follow. And if you're searching for one, there's never been a better time to search. With 21st century technology, it's really quite beautiful in a way, isn't it? Because as annoying as social media can be sometimes, as annoying as some people can be on social media, as time-consuming as it may be, it represents the ability for us to rapidly communicate with each other all over the world. This is an international audience, literally, and it's very cool. So if you're among the people that are looking for what we call a spiritual home or a tradition that resonates with you, there's never been a better time to do it, because everything in the world is readily available right here on the internet. You can find information and connect with people worldwide. Really, there's never been a better time to seek. And we just use the word seek, and really that's a metaphor. There's nothing actually to seek, because we're perfectly at home right where we've always been. We're simply waking up to that. And what we see all around us is a dream. So we're moving on to chapter 4 of the text. It's called Illusions and the Ego. And today, I just want to take a couple of ideas from the introductory paragraphs. There are 3 of them. And one of those is that Jesus leads off with, we should go twice as far as a brother asks us to go. Yeah. One way of looking at that is don't set him back. Isn't that right? Yeah, don't set him back. A devotion to a brother, we're also shown, is of mutual benefit. And it is. Forgiving the Son of God is of mutual benefit. When we forgive, we're really forgiving ourselves. It's a mutual benefit. There's only oneness. So when one of us forgives truly, everyone benefits. There's a foundational idea in A Course in Miracles that's to give and to receive are one in truth, and they are because there is only oneness. There's no other. There's no separate other out there. So when we forgive what appears to be somebody else, it's an image on our screen, like this. And we're really forgiving ourselves, which is very powerful. And if you're new to this material, if you're new to non-dual spirituality, it's something that takes some thought and repetition, because these ideas, as simple as they may sound, don't necessarily land right away. So if you're questioning this, that's good. Yeah. Keep asking questions. Excellent. In fact, that's what we should all do on the path. Because really, what I invite you to pay attention to is what lands for you, what appears to come out of my mouth that connects for you. And I would be very interested in what appears to come out of my mouth that inspires you to practice, to take that next step, to get in touch with your inner teacher. That's worth paying attention to. So yeah, go twice as far as your brother asks. Go the extra mile, so to speak, right? In other words, let's not set each other back. There's too much of that going on in this world of warfare and competition, malevolence, wherever you turn. That's being egocentric. That's thinking that we exist alone as self-sustaining survival units, is what we call individuals separate. It's the idea of separation. And we're shown here that to be egocentric is to be dispirited, the hyphen between dis and spirited. And to be self-centered with a capital S-centered self in the good, beneficial way is to be inspired. Self with a capital S, we're talking. We don't mean lowercase s self. That's the ego self. So to the extent that a capital letter evokes for you a significant difference, that's why it's there. Capital S. So we can speak, we can act, right? We can think from spirit or from the ego as we choose. As we choose. This is a choice. I'm fond, very fond, of repeating that spirituality is for grown-ups. It is, really. It's an adult endeavor. Kids' playtime is over if you really want to embark on the path. If you really want to wake up, if you really want the peace of God, which we're invited to want. In fact, that is also a lesson from the workbook. I want the peace of God. So if you truly, genuinely do, it's an adult endeavor. We have to look at ourselves honestly and recognize that we have the responsibility in the present moment to choose God or the ego, spirit or the ego, self with a capital S or the ego, love or fear, life or death. That's the single choice that we have in the present moment. Everything else in all of its multiplicity of forms is merely a derivative of this one choice. And this is what it boils down to. So we have the ability to choose. And if we're sincere, if we're serious, the responsibility to choose love, really, to extend the miracle, to forgive, truly forgive the Son of God and the world itself and space and time and the ego. It doesn't exist. It's not real anyway. Forgive, 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 and forgive again. We're invited not to undertake any useless journeys. So let's return to that idea as we wrap up here today. What constitutes a useless journey? Well, anything that doesn't lead to awakening, really. I mean, yes, if you have a job outside the home, you've got to get up and go to work. Or if you work at home, then you've got appointments and things that you do. So yeah, we've got to pay the light bill and you know, the rent or the mortgage and all of that stuff. Yes, we have to feed ourselves and drink water and go to the bathroom. And we should exercise the physical body, things like that, right? So we're not saying don't do any of that. No, in fact, it's much more effective if we live what appears to be a normal life in the world, whatever normal actually looks like. That's such a weird concept, isn't it? But it's really important that we continue to live life in the world, but we don't have to invest it with reality. Ideas, like the ideas in the workbook, and like the idea that this is a dream, are very helpful. Because what happens when you go forward in your spiritual practice and you're in the world, as we say, but not of it? It means that when things happen, and they will, that maybe used to really anger you, now, with the benefit of your own walk, with the benefit of your spiritual practice, they may not bother you as much at all. Maybe not at all. You may have, with the benefit of spiritual practice, a completely different reaction to a person or a situation. This is very good. It's a good thing to observe. And it is a telltale sign that you're learning. It's a telltale sign that this is working. That's how we find out, really, truly know that these ideas are true, is by practical experience. It's not by listening to a voice on your screen or reading something in a book or a podcast or whatever. It doesn't matter who the deliverer of the message is. The real learning comes in the practical application, which is why A Course in Miracles has a workbook, which is why it has a text that explains the thought system. It's why it has a Q&A section, the manual for teachers. Yeah. It's a self-study curriculum. That's part of the brilliance of this course, is that it's not a religion with prescribed behavior. It's not a cult. We don't demand that you mortgage all of your property and run off to us with, with all your family and kids and donate your belongings to somebody's charitable foundation and run off to South America. None of that. No, the world has too much of that going on already. What it needs is for you to get in touch with your inner teacher and extend the miracle, to extend love to your brother. That's what it needs. So there are plenty of people in the world that will help you with that. I'm only one of them. But more importantly, your inner teacher will direct you. So that is the essence of all of this, is connecting with your inner teacher who will guide your forgiveness. Very early on in the text, in fact, in chapter 1, Jesus invites us to ask him which miracles to perform. And he will tell us, you have a specific role to play. It does not involve undertaking useless journeys that only waste your time. They may end up with a hot, sexy weekend on the beach with your lover. They may end up with more money. I mean, you may appear to have what we call progress or cool, shiny things in the world as a result. But let's not undertake useless journeys and invite your inner teacher to direct your forgiveness. That's what Jesus is saying here. Ask him which miracles you should perform. He will tell you. We've all got specific miracles to perform here in the world because there are people that only we can reach. You don't have to do as I'm doing and turn on the camera and microphone and broadcast a message to a worldwide audience. You don't have to do that. However you reach people, you'll be instructed and told if you allow yourself to be. See, what's really going on here is we're reenacting this supposed separation again and again. That's why everything in this world ends, by the way. It's a reenactment of the separation. That's why physical bodies decompose, decay, and die. And that's why they don't last. It's a reenactment of the separation. Any ending of any kind is a reenactment of the separation. And we do this again and again and again until we voluntarily give it up. That's what we're invited to do. No more useless journeys. Let's voluntarily, right now, today, give them up. Yes, just yes, let's do that. That would be very, very kind of you to forgive the Son of God and the world and give up useless journeys and ask for help from your inner teacher. Now, here in the world, you're more than welcome to ask me questions. This is part of the reason why I offer these videos, is to serve as a guide for you. So questions and comments here are more than welcome, as is your subscription to this channel. Here's the subscription button here, the red arrow. I'd love to have you do subscribe if you haven't already. This is really a pleasure for me to be able to present this course to you. So I also want to just include a reminder that tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in North America, so 17 hours GMT, I'll be beginning my weekly live stream. And the idea here is to have a longer period of time with live Q&A. These are pre-recorded conversations. So while questions are always welcome, this will be a live opportunity, and I'll include the link to my Patreon page there in the comments. That's where I'll be conducting the lives up to an hour. It'll allow us to go more in depth in there. So if that's something that you're looking for, I invite you to check that out. And as always, I thank you for joining me here, and let's get in touch with our inner teacher today and have our inner teacher direct our forgiveness. Very cool. See you soon.